Hello, and thanks for joining us on the programme. We'll start with Tuesday's action in the European Champions League, where there were places up for grabs in the final 16 of the competition. It was a nail-biting night of European football all around. Eintracht Frankfurt, Tottenham Hotspur booking their places in the knockout stages. And I'm joined by our football reporter, Sanny Rudravajhala. Sanny, it was nervy for Tottenham, but talk us through what happened.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, at the start of proceedings in Group D, there was only 2 points separating Tottenham at the top and Marseille at the bottom. Marseille had a stand closed as well because of crowd trouble in an earlier game, and Antonio Conte was not on the sidelines for Spurs. He'd been banned from the touchline. He had to watch in the stands instead. And yeah, it didn't go too well for Spurs to start off with. Marseille actually took the lead. It was Chancel Bamba, the DR Congo international, scoring late into injury time in the first half after Son Heung-min was off injured. And at that moment in time, Marseille actually topped the group, but then Clément Lenglet equalised for Spurs. It looked like they were going into the last 16, and then very late on, into the final moments of the game, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg scored and proved that he didn't really need Conte after all, so ended up with Marseille 1, Tottenham Hotspur 2.
Brilliant. Tottenham topping that group. What about the other game in the group? Also, a lot of drama there as well.
Yeah, OK, so it finished Sporting 1, Eintracht Frankfurt 2. That isn't the whole story. And in fact, if I tell you that at full-time the Sporting players were all distraught and in the end they didn't need to be, that gives you an idea. So Sporting actually took the lead in that game through Arthur Gomez. Again, at that point, Sporting were through. All happy days in Portugal, except that there was a handball inside the area. Japanese international Daichi Kamada scored from the spot. And I want you to remember the name. That was his 12th goal, by the way. Randall Kolo Muani, 23 years old, made his France debut just in September, scored a brilliant half volley. World Cup's in 3 weeks' time, so he did what he could do. And it meant, with Spurs' game, Tottenham finished top. Then Frankfurt came in second behind them, and Sporting, out of nowhere, ended up in third. So they did get some Europa League football in the end.
Right. What a group. But how did Barcelona's Champions League campaign come to an end?
Yeah, of course, Barca out of the Champions League entirely, but they are into the Europa League. They went to Victoria Pilsen, who are one of the teams who are kind of battling to avoid being labelled the worst team ever. And Ferran Torres ended up scoring a brace. It was 4-2 in the end. But I'll tell you, when Thomas Churi scored his second for Pilsen to make it 3-2, it did ask some questions of Barcelona, you know, second in La Liga. But then in the end, this young debutant, 19-year-old Pablo Torre, scored on his debut. He was overcome with emotion at the end, and rightly so, and ended up with Barcelona winning 4-2 at Pilsen in the end.
Just about enough time to touch upon Spanish rivals Atletico Madrid. Mm-hmm. Bit of a shocker for them.
Yeah, of course, terrible campaign for them, already out of the Champions League. They were awful in losing 2-1 at FC Porto. It means they finished bottom of their group. They are out of Europe entirely. Leverkusen's 0-0 draw with Club Brugge means that they go into the Europa League. Elsewhere, of course, Liverpool beat Napoli 1-0, meant that they go, well, they're both through anyway, but Napoli lose the 100% record. Rangers take that record as the worst team ever, losing 3-1 at home to Ajax. And back in that Group C, Bayern beat Inter Milan 2-0.
Thank you very much, Sanny. I'm sure Rangers fans will appreciate that last comment as well.